eventually.
Isn't there like a 30-second
Live.
gap?
Hey guys, what's up? Episode 71 of the RUDIS Lesson Podcast, joined by special guest Matt Storniolo. Matt, what could possibly bring you out to Fargo, North Dakota in the middle of July?
I wanted to talk to you guys.
Okay. So obviously, we are at the Cadet Junior National Freestyle Championships. Matt, I guess talk to us about, I don't know, you remember your angry fish days as a wrestler or what you're doing here recruiting all these wonderful athletes?
Yeah, so I still have some PTSD from my days here in Fargo. Never came away at the stop sign, but obviously great tournament for us to come and recruit at. Get to see the nation's best compete, and it's always a fun event to watch.
Now, when you we're referencing back to your Fargo days, but that was all the heyday of the angry fish.
Yep.
Those of you who are students of the sport should definitely remember it was produced arguably the greatest concentration of high-level D1 athletes in a relatively short period of time.
That is like high praise right there.
No, for a short period of time.
I'm saying that's really high praise.
Because if you look
it's
at
the greatest concentration.
Right.
What about Blair 02 though? Or
they
01?
Recruited
Blair
those
01?
guys. They recruited those guys.
They might have recruited them to Pennsylvania. Right? Weren't you somewhere else?
No, I lived in Pennsylvania.
Okay, the whole time.
Yeah.
The whole time.
You sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
So looking back, going through all the athletes, and I remember most of them.
Yeah.
There's yourself, Jake Herbert.
Yeah, we got Mark McKnight, Coleman Scott, Phil Davis,
Jake Weitzel, Josh Weitzel.
Josh.
Weitzel.
So that's a special group.
The King brothers.
Yeah, exactly. Jared and Matt. So I want to say we had added up what we would have placed at the NCAA tournament if the Angry Fish was a team. And I want to say we were the first or second place team if we had all formed the Angry Fish University. Our
problem was we didn't keep you in Pennsylvania at the time.
Yep. Well, if you would have been there, you came a year late to Penn State, probably would have happened. But we kind of dispersed and everybody ended up in their own places.
And I remember Ty, one of his grand experiences, Ty Moore and Ray Brinzer were the coaches of the Angry Fish. I remember Ty calling me up. He's like, "Hey, do you think this will work? We've got a girl. She's never wrestled. We're going to train her, and she's going to win Fargo."
Yeah, and they did it.
And they did it.
Who?
And they did it.
Do you remember the name? You don't remember the name?
I don't remember.
Nah.
But yeah, they were always pushing the envelope. I know the fish.
I was in college. I was older.
Oh, you're older.
Yeah, it wasn't when I was there.
Wasn't your
And then Ty, I think Ty drove away with a box of Angry Fish T-shirts on the roof of his car, and they made it partway down the highway until they were everywhere. I heard Ty was on the side of the street, dodging cars, picking them up. Those things went like hotcakes here back in the day. It was a hot
I think
ticket
they would
item.
still be bestsellers.
Yeah,
they bring back the
sure
Angry
they
Fish
would.
shirt.
Wait, you think RUDIS could make those?
Yeah, we can make anything.
Okay, there we go. I think we got it maybe copyrighted somewhere. We got
think they
you got to
are.
find Ray Brinzer wherever he is in the world. You don't know where he's at.
He's in New York, right?
In New York,
Yeah, he's
right?
in New York.
There we
Saw
go.
Ray in
Yeah.
March.
Yeah.
He's living. So what else is going on in Northwestern, Matt?
Good things. Got a couple of guys getting ready for the Junior National, Junior Worlds,
Junior Worlds,
UWWs.
yeah.
Got two kids representing us, Yahya Thomas and Lucas Davison. Give us a quick plug here. We're the only collegiate program that
Yeah.
has two
You got to plug that.
two
Let's go.
freestyle Junior World Team members. So we're doing something right.
And you put Ryan Deakin in Final X.
Yes.
We did. So it was a
And
good.
we'll give you Cody Brewer too.
He was still training with us
There
when
we
he won the title
Yes.
at the Open. We had Joe Rao win it in
Yeah.
Greco. So training center as a whole came away with 5 national champs, which is
Pretty damn good.
pretty special
Yeah,
coming away
absolutely.
from the U.S. Open with that kind of hard work.
I mean, that's got to be far and away your best overall performance in Vegas, right?
Oh,
And-
yeah.
and
Yeah, absolutely. And really, in terms of any competition for us, it seemed like one of those days where you just wanted to pinch yourself and things just kept going right.
Mhm.
And guys, they had great preparation leading up to it. And that's all you can do is prepare them right. And then it's up to them to go out there to execute. And they did. It was a good tournament.
So how are Lucas and Yahya preparing right now, or are they at the OTC with junior team, or you guys got someone in Chicago taking care of them?
Right now, they're back in Chicago. They were out at the OTC with the senior level for a camp about a week and a half ago. So
Mhm.
they're out there for a week and a half. Got some great training in. They're back in Chicago right now, training with Hal and Kennedy. They're back there putting them through workouts, and then they're going to head back out to camp here in a couple of weeks, and then hit the road for Estonia.
Was there any thought of Ryan challenging the U23 team?
Ooh, that's a good question.
A little bit of a thought there. For us, really, it's the timing. It's the timing of the World Championships at U23s, and I think it's one thing to compete for a senior world championship, but with being U23s, it's not quite the same event, and the timing of it's just really rough with that world championship being beginning in November. And so for a guy like Ryan to try to get him to peak, you're trying to get him to peak for the trials, and then you're going to try to get him to peak again for the U23s, and then keep it ramped up for the college season. That it's hard. You're going to come up short somewhere. So for us right now, the focus is on getting Ryan primed and ready to go for the college season, peak him in March, and come away with an NCAA title.
No, and I'm sure the other consideration too is with school out at Northwestern. You guys are missing during the season, especially with the academic rigors of Northwestern. It's not easy to we'll just take another week off of class, right?
Yeah, it is, but I wouldn't say that's anything that influenced us. Ryan is he works just as hard in the classroom as he does on the mat. So he's an econ major, which is the toughest major at Northwestern. I want to say he's pulling like a 3.5 GPA still.
Wow.
So he's a special kid.
Hey, so Matt, we got a question real quick on the comments here. Sebastian Rivera will or will not compete in freestyle next year?
I think he will. I think he will. He's healthy right now. Biggest issue for Sebastian was he let his weight get a little bit big after the NCAA tournament. It's a quick turnaround. We had it worked out where it looked like he was going to get a wrestle off to represent Puerto Rico.
What?
Yeah,
What?
Really?
Dual citizenship didn't quite work out.
Okay.
But we thought he was gonna be the guy going to the world championship.
Really?
I'm pretty sure.
So is that something that can happen in the future? Or
Yep.
Okay. Very interesting. Yeah, I did not even know that.
Huh.
Piles is gonna be pissed at you. You see Piles getting all irate about everyone wrestling for other countries? Because we got all the Michigan guys. They're all doing it for other countries. Gomez is obviously wrestling for Puerto Rico. That's your guy, Matt. And training at Penn State, so I know he has some hostility.
Well, he's
there.
from Puerto Rico.
Well,
And
okay, we'll give you that.
Franklin's
He is from Puerto Rico, so we'll give you that one. Fair enough.
With the depth of our team, what are you going to do? Like, if you really want to, a lot of these guys could medal or make a deep run at the World Championship.
Yeah.
So if the opportunity's not here,
It's true.
I mean, everybody else is doing it. All the Russians are doing it.
Yes.
Chamizo's doing it.
No, you're
the
right.
Cubans are doing it.
I think it's good for us as a country to have, right, if you can have only 10 wrestlers at the World Championships versus if you can have 30 or 35, right, if they're all wrestling for different countries. So I do see it as a positive. I also, at the same time, get the resentment of if one of our guys gets beat, say Stephen Michich beats someone at the World Championships, beat Dayton Fix, we're all going to be pissed about it. I'll be pissed about it. Well, how do you feel about that, Matt? You're pretty open-minded.
I can understand that, but Sebastian's scenario is a little bit different. His grandparents are from Puerto Rico. He spent a lot of time in Puerto Rico growing up, so he's got a lot of pride for Puerto Rico and considers that home also. So a little bit different of a situation, but I can understand the hard feelings with U.S. guys, especially when a kid's training in the U.S. and competing, representing other countries. But if the kid has an opportunity to compete at a world championship, it's hard to stand in his way, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, my personal question, will Sebastian Rivera be in the RUDIS wrestling shoes next year?
I think he will.
Oh, no.
I think he will. He really likes the prototypes he's been testing out. He's probably the toughest competitor I've ever seen on shoes. He just mulches right through them, and he's been in those for months and months now. They're holding up. He likes them, so I don't see him wearing anything else next year.
Well, I got a tough question. If you're open to a tough question on camera.
Okay, we're live too, so
we are live.
we'll
so
chat.
okay. Well, we're buddies for a while. Deacon struggled at the end of the year. Without giving out too much. Okay, he struggles at the end of the year, takes 60 NCAAs, and then he turns around. And I'll say I was shocked. In one day he beat Jason Chamberlain. Oh my God, who's the semis? Pantaleo, and then James Green, all in one day. What happened between March and we're talking a month's time. You can't make that much progress.
All that really happened was he got a little bit of time off for his body to recover and for him to feel fresh. And I think if you look at the season that Ryan wrestled last year, it's easy to see how he get a little bit worn down.
Oh, absolutely.
Going into the NCAA tournament, he had the #1 RPI in the country, above even Null. We wrestled a tough dual meet schedule. We had all the top trophy teams from the NCAA. Big Ten schedule was as hard as it could be in the Big Ten. And then on top of that, we went to Vegas for the Cliff Keen. We wrestled Midlands. And if you just go week by week, duel by duel, he didn't have any easy matches. His easier matches in the Big Ten were against guys like Police from Minnesota, who's an All-American. So it was out of conference, Larry Early, All-American. So every week he had a top 10, top 8 opponent. And it's a meat grinder. Of a season.
So that,
So
It's
moving
worn
forward.
down.
no, to follow that up.
Yeah,
You want to follow it up? I want to follow it
I
up.
was going to follow it.
I want to follow it up.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So you have people getting flack for sitting people out.
Right.
Now you're saying, hey, Ryan needs some time off. Obviously, if you sit Ryan out next year, you're going to catch flack for that. There's probably no doubt from some people. But seeing as it may be best for him, is that something you will consider to do?
You got to have an open mind.
It's a balance.
And our job is you've got 2 jobs to do, right? Our job's to win matches and then also peak for the end of the year.
Yes.
And we're a sport that you get judged by how you do in March. So you've got to keep that on the front of your mind. But we're competitive. We want to win every duel. You don't want to not have your best lineup out there. We want our guys to be battle tested. It's a balancing act, but we were not the program that sat guys out. Our best guys were out there every time against quality opponents, and we were ready to go. They strapped it on and stepped on the line against whoever was out there. We weren't ducking anybody.
Yeah,
Fair.
which I like that. But
Yes.
moving forward, actually, you and I have been talking too much because that was the exact question I was going to have. So I guess a tweet to that, like moving forward, does that factor at all as you're putting the schedule? I know next year's schedule is probably already in place, but
A little
Did you
bit
have
now.
time to reflect
Just
or,
with the way the Big Ten schedule cycles, it's going to be a little bit of an easier schedule this year. Now, out of conference, we're still wrestling tough schools. We're going to have Northern Iowa on the schedule next year, North Dakota State, which isn't a bad out of conference school. But Big Ten, we don't see Iowa, Nebraska, or Wisconsin next year. So changes things a little bit, and we'll evaluate on a week-to-week basis. But I don't think we're going to make any decisions right now saying, okay, we're going to hold this guy out for this duel. We're going to hold him out. It's going to be game time decisions. We're going to see how guys are doing and make decisions for what's going to be best for them in the long run.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, any final thoughts, Matt?
No, it's a pleasure being here.
Okay.
Love talking with you
Appreciate
guys,
it.
and keep doing what you're doing.
It's great seeing you on the floor of Fargo.
Good seeing you.
All right, buddy.
appreciate
See
you.
ya.
man.
Thanks, MD.
All right. All right. Angry fish disperse. All right. We're still live, of course. Well, Matt's going to scoot a little closer. Bring it a little closer. There we go. All right. So I do remember when Matt was not a friend but a foe back in the Angry Fish days. Yeah, that's who we're speaking as. I believe he wrestled my friend Matt Pell, who ended up being an All-American at Mizzou, a couple times. I'm trying to remember who won. I think Storny might have got him, but I'm not 100% sure.
I mean, it was absolutely amazing, that club. And I've
They were
got
good.
more insight. Obviously, Ty was my best friend, one of my best friends. And so I got an in-depth look at what they did. And it was actually pretty phenomenal what they did in that short period of time, the level of wrestlers they produced. And they just had a different approach to the sport, much like I think you would have thrived.
Yeah, I mean, I know Ty and Ray, not close with them, like maybe you were, but I knew them, and I don't want to say I saw eye to eye on everything, but it was like similar philosophies.
Yeah, just it wasn't alternative thinking. It was just like everything's in play. Everything should be questioned. Everything should be dissected. And they not only passed that mentality along to their guys, which I think was really unique, because if you know these guys, if you know Matthew at all, if you know McKnight, you know Herbert, you know Phil Davis, you know all these guys, they don't fit in the conventional box of anything. They're just they think differently. They approach the sport differently, much like you did. Yeah. And and I think that was really the beauty of what they did is they didn't put any boundaries. I mean, they were, I know when we had Kyle on a couple months ago, he said, wrestle till you dominate their age group. Where the angry fish kind of like, hey, we're going to take these high school guys and push them in to the open as high schoolers. They said, and
I remember that.
I thought it was really cool and just a really different way to approach the sport. And I think it's missed. Obviously Ty passed away several years ago. And the club's no longer in existence, but it was a lot of fun when they were doing it.
So I kind of do you think I put Matt on the hot seat too much with that question about Deakin?
No, I think that's a
tough?
fair question. Because
he answered it well.
No, and I think
it was a tough question.
Yeah, but I mean, he doesn't duck competition. He doesn't duck questions.
Duck questions.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. So let's talk. So for those of you guys, I guess we didn't even intro this because Matt was here and we just want to get on and hop on with him. We are in Fargo, North Dakota. Right now, we're in the Applebee's parking lot across the street from the Fargo Dome. The cadet finals just finished up. So we're actually Matt and I are going to review Fargo next week when we have everything going on. But for now, we're going to talk about the Yasar Dogu, which I think there's a lot of thoughts on this.
Yeah.
A lot of interesting things happened. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And then next week, we're going to come back and review Fargo.
Okay, before we jump into this, and people have been chomping at the bit. They've been asking,
What?
where's the Fargo shirts? Where's the Fargo shirts?
It's right here. The
So,
Fargo shirt's right here.
They're
Hey,
here.
did we do the same?
We did.
I shouldn't
We're
have got.
thinking alike.
I didn't realize.
We're dressing.
I
alike.
didn't
This is-
realize you got this color. I would have got a different color for sure.
I pointed that out to you.
I didn't think about it. I'm
Okay.
sorry. My bad. Okay.
But yeah, for everybody that
Fargo
was
shirts are
wondering,
here.
the Fargo shirts are here.
It's
They're on the
about
shelves.
a 400-foot walk.
Yeah.
Across the street, but you can go to Subway or Applebee's or Buffalo Wild Wings.
So yeah, we've got billboards out, and I think we've been here for 3 years, but people are still asking. So we are directly behind Buffalo Wild Wings and right
Yes.
beside Applebee's. So
Yes.
we'll be here all week. We're open all day. Stop by, get a chance to meet you.
Absolutely.
Isaiah Martinez is here. He
He's
just
signing
flew in.
tomorrow, which is July 16th. Isaiah is signing at
11 a.m.
So, yep, be over here. Yeah, and the Fargo Dome, I mean, I'm exhausted. The last 2.5 days have been wild. So many matches going on. I mean, for those of you who haven't been here, it is kind of like the mecca of freestyle and Greco wrestling. We have 25 mats. I think they set records in the junior freestyle, the cadet freestyle, and the cadet women's freestyle. All three of them set records for most participants. I want to say the men's and junior and the men cadets were around 1,200 competitors each division, per division.
Wow.
Which is 2,400 freestyle competitors for males, and I think it was like 400 for women. That was a record for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like a rite of passage, right? You almost have to
Absolutely.
come, you have to experience it. You have to come. If you say you aspire to be an elite wrestler, this is the place to be.
Yeah, I mean, the
And-
statistics prove that too.
Yeah.
If you look at the statistics, it's like of every NCAA All-American, it's something like 80% of them wrestled at Fargo.
Yeah.
I mean, very, very, very high number. And yes, it is. I mean, I was just saying this earlier, man. It's like hot as shit out. And I was saying, like, why are we making our pilgrimage to Fargo every year? But it is kind of like a badge of honor.
It is.
for-
Like
for-
I survived.
And
We're-
Sean, over here, wherever he's at, he thinks the first year in Fargo was 1994, which that's before my time, so I can't remember.
Well, you already dated me last week.
Well, you
I'm
said you were in Cedar
pre-Fargo.
Falls.
I'm in
You're
Cedar Falls.
pre-Fargo.
Yeah.
It's like a dinosaur or something. Okay, so Yasar Dogu happened. For those of you guys who don't know, that is now what's called a rankings series tournament. So you get points at that one. There's 4 of those. And those go along with the World Championships and the Continentals, which then give you a seed for the World Championship. So it does have a level of importance. We set a really good squad from the U.S., and we had really good results.
Great results.
I thought I was really happy. So we didn't send Dayton. Who else didn't go? Dayton, Graf.
Well, Graf went, but then he had a family.
I didn't see that.
Family incident.
really?
I don't know what it was,
Okay.
but he was set to compete. Something came up with his family, so I think he flew back to the States.
Okay, so Graf didn't compete, Fix didn't compete, but besides that, everyone else on the team competed.
Yep. Everybody else won.
Well, we had 2. I mean, Green went 0-1,
Green.
Downey went 0-2. Besides that, we won every weight class, correct? No, I'm sorry. Heavyweight, we lost to Akul.
Taha. That
So-
guy is a beast.
He's a freaking animal. I think the 2 topics that we have to address, Matt, right away are number 1, Yianni and Zain met up second round.
Where do
Like,
we
what are
unload?
the chances?
Yeah, I thought they met first round.
First round. You're
First
right.
round.
You're correct. Yes, first round. I messed that up. First round.
I mean, what to unload here? I mean, one, the outcome, the match itself.
It was good, really good match, high level. I mean, even the score says 9-4, but Yianni got 4 points on that exchange in the second period where they got in a scramble, and Yianni comes up to his feet as Zain gets on his back, and Yianni locks him in and does like a somersault roll forward.
Through. He hooked
thing.
the leg across, like he seatbelted the leg.
Yes, here and here,
then
boom.
Forward roll.
Yes, and he got 4 for it, which I was so worried the refs were going to mess that call up, but they got it right. He got 4, and then Zain comes up limping, unfortunately. And then Yianni goes on and wrestles Muzakayev, who was former Russian, I believe, junior
Wrestled
world
for
champion.
Hungary.
That was
Now,
Hungary. Dog,
Insane.
insane. It's totally insane. He goes down 9-0. This was, if you guys haven't watched my Mental Monday, this was what my Mental Monday was about. Man, I love the fact that Yianni in the match says, I'm a scrambler, but I'm losing these scramblers. So I'm just going to push him forward. And he drives him, and he gets this guy so tired, he doesn't want to get up.
I mean, that's one of the special things about Yianni is like so many athletes have trouble adjusting, making mid-match adjustments.
Yeah.
And he completely changed his game plan.
Yes.
Completely.
Absolutely.
He's like, oh, I'll play the scrambling game. That's my game.
Yes.
This guy said, well, I'm better at it when I'm in shape. before our
If
stuff.
we only go maybe 2.5 minutes.
I'm good.
We're good. 2.5 minutes. 4 minutes is not so good.
But then, yeah,
Yes.
I mean, he was down 9-0.
9-0.
Like, he couldn't really, like,
Yes.
he had to at least get on the board to start
Yes.
clawing his way
Yes.
back and to make that in-match adjustment and have the confidence to do that, to completely deviate and wrestle more traditionally
Yeah, I loved it.
than you normally would think.
I loved it because I always talk to my athletes about the more weapons you can bring to the table, the better. Like if you can win a wrestling match because of your intelligence, if you can win a wrestling match because of your cardio, if you can win a wrestling match because of your strength, if you can win a wrestling match because of your speed, your technique, your different techniques, your scrambling, right? If you can win, if you have 15 ways to win a wrestling match, then it's pretty easy to deviate. But for him to be able to change 9-0, everything's going the wrong, pretty much everything that could have went wrong did go wrong for him. And then the change in match, which is fantastic. You know what my brother actually brought up? I told you my brother's great off camera. He put a camera in front of Max. He sucks. He don't like to be on camera. He brought up the fact that did the Russian, I'm calling him Russian because he is Russian, not Hungarian, even though he wrestles Hungary. He got DQ'd because he refused to keep coming to center.
Yeah,
He refused.
yeah.
Just said
He got cautioned out of the match.
caution on the match. So Max said, is it better in their society to lose like that than to keep coming back to center and get embarrassed? Because at that point he was so tired that Yianni was going to pick him apart. He scored 9 points in a row or whatever it was, right? Because it was like 9-9 when he got DQ'd.
Yeah.
So it was like Yianni was just scoring kind of at will because the other guy's so tired at this point. Is it better just to get DQ'd and say, oh, whatever, make an excuse why you lost, than to actually step on the line and just keep getting taken down by Yianni?
They do have like a weird sense of like how they like. I think in America we take pride. Like if you're getting beat, take it like a man.
Take it like a man.
Hey,
Yes.
Whatever it is.
Absolutely.
1 point, tech fault, pin, whatever.
Yes.
Take it like a man. You put yourself out there.
Absolutely.
Reap the consequences, whatever they are. But I think a lot of the foreigners have a different approach.
I mean, we haven't discussed it. This is, I guess you could have brought this topic up with
Belaglazov,
Anatoly. But it would be interesting to see if we could get his take on something like this. And even if he would come all the way out and say it, because some things are like nuanced or culturally they might not say it. But and even between kids, you have some kids who they would rather roll over and get pinned than keep getting embarrassed if they're not doing so well. I mean,
I actually wrestled in the foreign wrestlers I wrestled. I had several that I was beating them badly, and they literally just rolled over and let me pin them instead of teching them, which I thought was strange. Like, why would you want? That's the worst thing in wrestling.
Yeah, I mean that's how we view it, but maybe they don't view it similarly. Okay, so then Yianni. So here's the weird part. So, Zain, first of all, we hope Zain's not hurt. He doesn't wrestle the second day.
I think he did the smart thing by defaulting out of the tournament.
Sure.
He got pulled back in because Yianni made the finals, so he's could come back for third. But I think he made the smart decision that.
But so Yianni got a forfeit in the finals, and so did Jordan Burroughs to Chamizo. And I thought, what I thought was so funny about that one is Chamizo put something out on social media like 2 days prior that said, "This time's for real." The other times,
no, it's not real.
The other times, I wasn't serious. This time's for real. And then he just didn't show up. Like, why would you say that? But Matt, I mean, he had to have some idea. Okay, if Jordan makes the finals, I'm not going to wrestle him. Right? He's got that idea. But he still puts the tweet out.
I know that. And the thing is, like, he had already, regardless of the outcome of the match, he secured the number 1 seed. All he had to do was make it to the finals to secure the number 1 seed.
Yeah.
The only way Burroughs could have gotten the number 1 seed is if he did not, if Chamizo didn't place.
Yeah.
But he already had it locked up.
I should have done this, Matt. I should do my research on. I mean, Chamizo didn't place the World Championships last year, and as Burroughs took third. He also won the Pan Ams. He also won. I believe he won one other ranking series tournament. So I know one of the things with the ranking series tournaments that is weird is you get points per the amount of competitors. Right. So a tournament like the Pan Ams, which is smaller, usually like say eight-ish competitors, or Burroughs might have like 6, versus the Europeans, which might have 20. So he gets way more points for winning that as 20 plus 10 or whatever it is. And I wonder if that is why Chamizo has number 1. He did not place at the World Championship last year. Burroughs beat him.
Which you get, that's the biggest amount of points. The biggest amounts of points from the World Championship.
So I'll do my research for the next episode.
Yeah, I'm still not as dialed into the specifics of the ranking series
And
and
they're
how
probably not
points are
great,
allocated.
but we're probably getting there.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little closer to where we need to be. So I guess okay.
So then the other thing about I don't want to. We've got a lot of things that we need to discuss.
well, let's go.
but I wanted to talk about Rutherford. Okay, so there's arbitration still going on, right? Or the
Yeah, it's still going on. It's not solved
Yeah.
yet. Yianni told me 5 weeks, and that was how many weeks ago? 3 weeks ago, something like that.
I mean, the outcome of that match, will not have any bearing because
it has no bearing besides the public's bearing.
public
right?
perception. People are like,
perception.
hey,
Yianni is the better guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then
I mean, I see some people on Twitter saying, and I wouldn't say this, but I agree with some. It's 3-1 Yianni. Yianni won the second match. They cheated him. Just plain and simple. A lot of people on social media saying it's 3-1 Yianni. I guess worst case it's 2-2 Yianni. And so from a public perception, and sometimes that is what drives the narrative. I think if Zain had beat him, it would have kind of just been
it's done. Like, it's like, okay.
Which I know has nothing official to do with it, Matt, but that's what people would have felt like. Okay, this is done. Now that Yianni won again, it's almost like the can of worms has been reopened, and now we're having the same discussion over and over again.
Now, hopefully, knock on wood, Zain Rutherford is completely healthy. Hopefully, he just tweaked his knee.
Yes.
But if it's a little bit more serious, then you got you got injury. In
oh,
play now
who
too.
else tweeted? Someone said Zain back in 10 to 14 days or something like that, and then someone else quote tweeted and said, "Okay, so that means 6 weeks." And then even Quentin Wright, who is a Penn State guy, he made the joke, or he was the one that made that joke, and someone else said 10 to 14 days. They said Suriano's drilling in the room downstairs. Jason is fine. And who's the other one that he's lied to? Oh, David. David will be back for the Final X. So obviously we know out of State College, and Martin and I don't know if you got to watch Martin and I's interview, we discussed this topic. Out of State College, you're not really getting real news. You're getting, a little different version of maybe what the truth is.
Yeah, and I know we've had this discussion, and obviously I'm an advocate.
You love Penn State. I don't dislike Penn State.
I love those guys, and I don't think they're obligated to share that information. I mean,
well, I don't like when they share misinformation. I would rather them to say, "Listen, I'm not going to." I mean, it's the same way I felt about the Kyle Dake thing. If he would have just came out front and said, "Listen, I don't want to wrestle Alex Dieringer until August 17th, but I am going to wrestle in this tournament on July 6th." That's my plan. I would have appreciated that much more than him being sneaky about it.
Yeah, but I don't think that's Penn State. I don't think they've ever supplied gross misinformation.
Yes, he did. He said Suriano was downstairs drilling when we know that was a lie. That's all. Yeah, you're buzzing. They said David Taylor will be back for the Final X. Okay. Oh.
Okay, you got me.
You got you.
I'm at a loss for words.
Oh. Just tell us the truth. Or just don't tell. Just tell us. It's none of your damn. If they want to tell me it's none of your damn business, they can tell me that.
And I think that's their prerogative, and typically that's what they do. And I think you do. You're first and foremost, your responsibility is to the athlete.
Yeah,
protecting him, looking out for them. With this. And I don't think the public deserves.
Just tell us. Get lost. I'm not telling you.
Yeah,
tell
just
us
make a blanket statement. Hey, moving forward, this is our policy. Blanket.
Yes.
Like we don't talk about these.
Don't lie to me.
Okay.
I don't like to be lied to. And you can't listen. You can't lie to me and tell me I have to like it. You can't tell me that.
No, I mean I get your point
fair.
there. Okay. So we still get a lot to
just
talk about.
Don't give me misinformation. Just tell me, hey man, we're not telling you get lost. None of your business. I could be okay with it being none of my business. It isn't any of my business, but don't lie to me. That's it. Ben only hates Iowa. I don't hate Iowa. I'm me and Matt McDonald are pretty close now. He works for Wisconsin, so we're working on my feelings towards the University of Iowa.
Okay, so the rest of
the tournament.
We'll wrap up the rest of the tournament.
Okay.
I mean, I think overall we looked, and again, I think this was, it was a ranking event, but more we always wrestle in an event, probably 2 months, 6 weeks out for the World Championship. So this was standard fare that we would go out and compete. I think by and large, you've got to put some stock into it. You've got. I know a lot of people are worried about James Green going 0-1 again, but I would.
He struggled internationally since what 15? No, when was the last time he did a good tournament?
2 years ago.
2 years ago, yes.
Yeah. So I mean, he wasn't at his best at the World Championships last year. He's shown. I think a lot of the same people after the Open were questioning him, and it seems like when he gets his fire lit.
Yeah.
Watch out. And hopefully that's the case with James, that He gets his fire lit. Or, you know what? I don't know how much stock the result that these athletes, obviously you want to win.
Yeah.
But it's about getting live competition. Yeah. And, I know last year Kyle actually got beat, at his warm-up tournament before the Worlds. And he's like,
no big deal.
He didn't even think twice about it. He's like, nah, I'm just getting ready for the Worlds.
Absolutely. So how do you, so does Alex Dieringer looking so good have any effect on your Dieringer Dake prediction? Because Alex Dieringer looked great. I mean, he looked outstanding. Wins the tournament, beat the Iranian, and beat. I'm trying to look up the bracket so I can remember who else Alex Dieringer beat.
I guess all I'll say about Dake, until somebody can Dake, I'm always going to go with him. Like, if you can beat him at his game, like he is so good at high, like the bigger the stage, the higher profile the match. He, in general, with the exception of Burroughs, he always finds a way to get it done. And that was the guy. I mean, Jordan Burroughs at that time when he started battling, he was already established as one of the all-time greats.
You're right. I mean, he did it again. Burroughs did it this tournament again. He had a last-second win against. Damn, I'm trying to find the dang brackets. Someone send me a link to the brackets, please, if you have them. So yeah, I mean, Burroughs did another Burroughs thing, but yeah, I think so. I actually predicted when we thought there was a Final X that Dieringer was going to beat Dake. I'm sticking by that prediction. I think Alex Dieringer looks outstanding. I think he's doing really well on the international level. I think Kyle Dake looked good in Spain, not great. And I guess I would say the fact that he's got another month to prepare, really that bodes well for Kyle Dake because Alex Dieringer is looking great right now.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely looked like he needed that tournament. I know whatever people are saying about Spain, but Dake needed competition. He didn't look his best, but I think he knocked some rust off. Give him a couple more weeks of preparation. He's battle tested now, and I think that's what he was looking for. He needed some battles just to get battle tested, but I think he's going to be ready to go. I'm still sticking with Dake until Dieringer. And don't get me wrong, I think Dieringer or Dake could be world champs for sure.
Dake could definitely challenge. Absolutely. So he beat. Let me just run through this. He beats Abarakov from Azerbaijan. He beat Timuri from Iran, and then he beat a guy from Slovakia who's a Russian Gulayev, and that just looked really good. So Downey, I guess if we're moving my weight class,
and he's a guy too. Like you were mentioning about Yianni winning different ways. That's the thing. Dieringer,
he can beat you different ways. Yeah, absolutely.
He'll beat you by a point. He'll tech fall you.
Yes, great on top. Good on bottom.
Top,
I mean,
everywhere.
He's got a little bit of everything for you. I think he showed that he kind of pushed what was that Iranian guy? He couldn't get to his leg attacks, but he's really kind of pushing him around, controlling center, that's really something that Iranians do really well generally. And man, he just executed on it super well.
Yeah. So again, making those in-match adjustments, and because he's a guy that he tends to have a high level of activity in a match. Like his shot rate.
Yes.
Is fairly high.
Yes.
And he really wasn't sniffing, even touching the Iranians' leg. And he adjusted, he adapted, and he did what the Iranians typically do. Head, held center, controlled center, pushed him out.
Pushed him out. Yep, pushed him around. Okay, so I think I'm going to say this is the story of the tournament. Although talking about other tournaments. Jaden Cox beats the world 42-0. And this is something I don't want to say. I mean, I've known Jaden Cox as a 10-year-old, and watching him through college, we knew what he was fully capable of. And we always kind of felt like we're not seeing the whole show. Jaden Cox just gives the beat down to everybody. He goes 11-0, 11-0, 11-0, 10-0 in the finals.
So I'm gonna
kind of embarrasses everybody.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So I'm gonna go back in history and pull out a name. Hopefully you know this name. You didn't know James Brown last week.
James Brown?
You didn't know he was the hardest working man in show business.
I did not know that phrase.
You are correct.
Okay, I didn't know
saying
that.
You're the hardest working man in wrestling. Anyways, so Jaden kind of pulled a Babe Ruth before the tournament. He kind of called his shot.
What did he say? I missed it.
He said something in the context of like, I want to show people there's no hope. After this tournament, it's like there's no hope going into the world. And he definitely made that statement. He followed it up.
I mean, it didn't look like there's much hope for anybody after that. No, absolutely.
I mean, he just let it go.
Yes.
I've never seen him. Have you ever seen him? You're more familiar with Jaden than I am.
Not like that. I mean, that was beatdown city.
I mean, Who can stop his single?
I mean, looking like that, I think he wins worlds easy. I don't know that if he wrestles that, I don't know there's much of a question.
And we know the level of Jaden's greatness.
Yes.
And I know some people jumped in after the terms like he's got to be considered the best pound for pound wrestler on the team. It's like, well, he should have been in that conversation 3 years ago too. Like, why are you guys just having this conversation now?
Three medals in a row. The last person to beat David Taylor, obviously not injury notwithstanding, last person to beat David Taylor, wins the world championships last year. I think there is, because David won such a tough weight class last year, because Kyle had beaten Sedulayev, and because Burroughs had racked up so many medals. I think those guys were kind of ahead of him in the conversation. But now Jaden is doing everything. And we go back to this, Matt, he's still only, 25, 24?
He could go 2 more cycles.
He could go a lot longer. So he wins this year. He goes, and we both think he's going down to 86 next year. I mean, to make the team, he's going to have to be world champion David Taylor again, right? So then that's kind of adding to the mythology of Jaden Cox. And then if he goes to world champion Olympics and wins another Olympic medal, we're talking he is. I should look at his birthday.
If he wins this year, next year, that'll give him 6, right?
No, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20.
Okay, that'll give him 3 golds.
3 golds, yes.
5 medals.
I mean, that's a top 5 American ever, yeah. And he would only be. I'm gonna look up his age here, so I don't lie to you guys.
And that puts him at after.
Jaden Cox is currently only 24, so that he would be 25 years old at the time of the Olympics next year. So he could have 5 straight world medals at the time of the Olympics next year. I mean, yeah, that's setting up for all-time greatness if he runs through another cycle and has the level of success that he's currently having. That's absolutely setting up for another, all-time great. And we're in an era where, yeah, it's hard to get recognized, Matt. When I was making the team in my era, we were barely getting any world medals. We could discuss, and we kind of have discussed all the reasons for that. But now we're getting spoiled, and we're getting to the point where Burroughs has got a whole bunch of medals. Dake is a world champion. Snyder has 3 medals in the world champion.
Hence the need for Americans to wrestle for other countries, right?
Hence the need for Americans to wrestle for other countries, which we were talking about. Brings us back to what we were talking about earlier. So, yeah, I think that just makes it tougher for these guys to stand out as all-time greats because you're in an all-time great era. It's like, why is Mark Hall and Vincenzo Joseph kind of looked as second-tier Penn State guys? Well, if they were anywhere else, they'd be the friggin' one of the best ever.
Yeah, they would be the face of the program.
Yes, and they're not. So that's, it's tough, but that's great for America, obviously. And I think Jaden Cox is now starting to stand out, and I think that will continue to turn as he does well at this World Championships, gets 4 medals in a row, and then as he goes into the next year, obviously if he can beat David Taylor, that's just going to put him on a very, very high level.
And by design, he's not a guy that really asks for the spotlight. Like, he's not a guy that
I had
really
this conversation with him.
Yeah, I mean, you were like, hey, if you want to get recognized, you got to kind of promote yourself
you
and
have
talk
to
to yourself.
yourself.
But he's not one of those guys that's going to pound his chest. Look at me. Yeah. He's not wired like that.
So I say you have to have a balance. Like, if you're not going to do that stuff, you got to be okay with no one talking about you. I mean, look how many people talk about Pat Downey and Jaden. What's his record at the international level?
I mean, it's
so you have to have a balance. What do you want? What do you want out of your life? And how are you going to go achieve that? If one of the things you want to be talked about is the greatest ever, there's going to have to be some intrigue because, listen, I will tell you, as a Missouri wrestler, as good as I was, if I would have went to Oklahoma State or Iowa or the way Penn State is now, I would have been talked about way more. Yeah. Because they have these large fan bases that drive conversation, that drive traffic to websites, and that's why they get discussed.
No, so and that's actually like this is actually getting into the senior athlete program, but that's when we're pitching our athletes, and we've pitched a lot of high level athletes from major programs. I'm like, hey, the one thing that you've got to remember is like you've had this major brand, this huge institutional brand, Ohio State, Penn State, whatever these major institutional brands that aren't just big in wrestling. They're just big worldwide and
have huge reaches
for whatever reason. And, for those guys.
And really, Matt, we talk about the college level at this point. The international finally flow is creating a way for us to watch interlevel wrestling. We're talking about international right now. But college level wrestling is talked about way more than anything else. Way more. It's not even – Matt, I don't want to talk about our numbers right now, but right now we have 63 live viewers. When we were doing this at the NCAA championships, we were not having 60, we were having 600, right? I mean, people are – interested in international wrestling at a different level than they are. College level wrestling at a different level than they are at the international level. So it will take time. And to your point, the colleges and the college wrestling, the whole thing, pushing them is huge. And so once they get out on their own, then they got to kind of find their own voice.
Right.
Okay, we have 2 more ways to talk about it. Then I have literally 20 minutes till session starts. I got to go back. We got 3 in the semifinals, baby.
Sweet.
So hopefully we can get 3 into the finals. Kyle Snyder wins, but not. It was a close one. He had to work hard against. I did not know this Iranian guy. I thought they said they were sending what's the leopard Jubar's name?
You
know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yazdani. It's also Yazdani.
Are they related? Or just the same? I think Yazdani is a fairly common Iranian name.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know.
Similar
if they're
weights.
They're not built the same though.
No.
One's like this, and the other one's super tall. So,
but I think the thing about Kyle that's always unique. He's always focused on the preparation. So yeah, he wanted the win, and I think he's excited that he won.
Yeah.
But he's not putting everything in this. And
I mean, we've seen Kyle struggle in season stuff before. That's fine.
Because I think his only focus is one thing. It's the one tournament a year. That's all he's focused on. And again, he showed he can win a 2-1 match.
Yes.
Like if that's what he needed to do, he's prepared to do that. But you also got to give him props. Like his parterre game is definitely progressing.
Yes.
His gut wrench is definitely
showed that he
coming
got
along.
a couple tech falls early, I believe. Let me go back and look. Semifinals 10-0, and in the early round 13-2. So yes, scoring a whole bunch of points there. Okay, last weight class. Then I gotta run. We have, like you said, Nick Gwizdowski makes the finals. He beat the Indian guy in the semis.
Who he beat for bronze last year.
Yeah, last year. Yep, exactly. And then he loses to hometown Taha Akul, who is, I don't know, how many time world champion.
He's unbelievable. Like people have been saying Gwiz needs to get bigger, not better. Like his skill levels, he needs to get bigger, but I don't think his frame can actually carry much more weight.
I think he's about as big as he needs to be.
And even if he got bigger, as big as the big heavyweights, like who's it, Gio and Taha.
Those are two of the Petrashvili and Taha Akul.
Even if he's that big, like Taha's level of athleticism is like a 25 pound. Like he is unbelievable. Like you said, his reattacks looks like he's a 25 pound, not a 125 kilogram guy, a 125 pounder.
Yes, absolutely. You know, Akul and Petrashvili make a mean 1-2 punch at heavyweight, and they've kind of been the 1-2 for a long time. I'm just looking at his stats here. I think he's got 7 straight European Games titles, and then 3 world titles of silver and bronze, 5 medals in a row. Yeah, I mean he's about as good as it gets. Wow! Oh my gosh, they actually have the records on here.
Wow, I hadn't seen that before.
I didn't know that.
Did they just update?
They must have just updated this.
But anyways, I thought Gwiz wrestled great.
He only loses 5-1, which I mean we're looking at the World Championship 2017. He got tech fall 10-0. So he is making obviously some improvement. I think he was good. I think you take Petrashvili away and you take Akul away, and I think he could beat anybody in the field.
Right. And it looks like Taha's talking about his windows closing, but he had to have given his best effort, Taha. So for people, it looks like Gwiz might have closed the gap a little bit. This is in his hometown, Taha's hometown, in his home gym. So he was going to bring it. He brought his best effort, right?
Yes. I agree. So great tournament by him. Overall, I think great, thumbs up for America. Looking good. We have actually Bo Nichols wrestling off later this week here in Fargo. And then I don't think anyone else, barring Yianni Zain, and then we know Dake Dieringer is going to happen August 17th. I don't think there's any other wrestle-offs, so it'll be fun cheering these guys on for the World Championships, which are coming up later.
For sure.
Okay, that's all I got. I got 18 minutes to get back to the Fargo Dome for the semifinals starting. Matt is going to bring you some interviews with some other guys, and I believe we're going to hop on with Isaiah Martinez
either
tomorrow.
Tonight or tomorrow. We have yet to be determined. We'll put it out there on social media about when he's going to go on, but we'll be going live with Isaiah, and it should be a fun conversation.
Absolutely. Appreciate you guys as always. Have a great day. That was way easier with the